I feel being a street king, you have to be optimistic while achieving results. So, I took that as first stepping stone for me was to continue my education and go to school at Full Sail University for my bachelor's in music production. Now, I still felt while I was doing that, I had to find a way to receive money and keep going forward towards my studies. Now, I feel since the regular job role is not working out for me, I had to find another way to do it. So, first I looked at it as this. Picked up this book right here, Songwriter's Market at the library. Did some more research on how to get paid in the music business. Well, I had to also look at it and juggle the thought, what if I wasn't going to get paid right now? What if that didn't work out? How would I get paid in any way? So I took that as a sign of that, and I decided to collect cans and save those and receive cash for them. So I've been collecting cans ever since I've been in school. And as I continued my studies and collecting the cans, I still didn't feel like that was enough for me. I wanted to do more with music. So I continued until I found an internship for a radio station called Swerve Radio. So as I continued to intern at Swerve Radio, I looked at it as, yes, this is cool, I'm helping other artists advance in their careers and get mass exposure, but I still want to get further in my career and receive more money than I'm receiving due to the fact that I also have a kid. So I said, you know what, I guess, I'm going to have to separate myself from everybody out here and try to go for a contest. And I said, I looked in the Songwriter's Market book, I was looking at the John Lennon contest, and then I came up with the plan as I was going to try to receive $20,000 this year. So, due to the fact that I was trying to receive $20,000, I was figuring out how was I going to receive it. So I, continued to try to find songwriting contests and stuff like that, but it was still hard because not everyone could win those so easily. But I found another way to advance. I said, okay, I'll just keep trying different contests until one works for me. So I was like, well, what if the contest doesn't work for me? What if I still need something else back in? So I said, okay, maybe I'll seek for exposure and continue to do shows while receiving the little bit of cash that I was. So while doing all this, I said, I needed to take it a step higher than what it already is. And knowing the fact that we're on break right now, and I was posting up to and talking to the school on Facebook and Twitter and asking what I should do in the break and stuff, they told me to take a break, and they said a lot of students were taking a break. Now I took that as my advantage. Why would I take a break due to the fact of everything that's going on? I said, there's no way I'm going to take a break. So I said, let's keep advancing with this. Let's go further. Okay? So I didn't take a break. I kept recording. I kept seeking for exposure until December. This is when I got in the magazine. I said, okay, the magazine's good. Let's keep going, but that's still not enough. I said, I still want to try to receive that $20,000 this year, so I got to figure out how to be realistic about it. And pull realistic numbers. So, when we talk about being a street kid, we talk about being optimistic. And when we bring the word optimistic up, we want to know, really, what are you willing to do to try to be optimistic? So I continue to seek employment at places like Guitar Center, Ted Brown Music. They said, they weren't hiring. I was like, okay, fine. I guess that's just not my outlet, knowing that this is what I was going to school for. So I'm going to have to branch out. I started looking more at events and ways to get myself out there to be able to talk to these people. Also knowing that I had a recording studio and I knew how to engineer. Well, still while learning to make beats, I wanted to advance. I wanted to learn the business. So I started saying, due to this digital era, CD sales are declining and we need to figure out how we're going to survive to that. Okay, so everyone does it's digital. We're just going to survive through iTunes and doing these shows. I said no, that's still cool, but we need to go further than that. How are we going to go further? Well, I said, this is how we're going to go further. We're going to go further by seeking endorsements. I said, we're going to have a target audience to talk to and ways to entertain folks through the internet, which is the best tool out there right now. I said, I looked at it like this. I said, 50 Cent's career, as far as he's went, he sure did destroy a lot of people's careers. I mean, look at it. The dude destroyed Ja Rule. He destroyed, Fat Joe, the Game. I mean, everyone's like, how did he do it? I looked at it like, wow, that's smart. That's great, because you took money that was theirs by taking their fans. That was a great idea. But still, he was still on top, and he wanted to figure out how. He sought endorsements. Now, endorsement deals are pretty much the new part of the business. How do you go about endorsement deals? Well, you go about endorsement deals by first having a target audience and figuring how to reach to these audiences. Because if you don't have a target audience, you don't generally know how to improve and who you are reaching to. So first figure your demographic. So I said that to myself, I need to figure out my demographic. Due to the fact that I'm not the richest person alive or have a lot of money like that, I said, let's go about this. Let's start having an internet presence and be internet savvy. Okay, so I took that. Let's be internet savvy and started making videos on YouTube and talking about the music business, because I felt since I knew so much about it, I might as well consider myself being a music business mogul out here. Okay, well still, I was like, yeah, this is cool. It's bringing me some views. I got my views up, but I still wanted to do more. I even tried to seek the opportunity, the fact that Red Bull was doing student brand manager, and I found out that my school didn't do that. I was kind of surprised by that, but oh well. I still needed to figure out how to advance from this. Well, due to all this happening, and this is it could be very stressful. So I said, what can I do? Well, I kept going and advancing further and talking more to the radio, trying to